So let's say you only had 2 snatch blocks and you only can run 3 to 1 instead of having 2 of Yankum's recovery rings for the 4 to 1. Would you still be beneficial running the extra part of the line with Yankum's ring, or just running the regular snatch blocks and running a 3 to 1? Alright guys, so we received our Yankum ropes pulleys in. It does come with a warning card, do not yank on ball hitches. Yankum ropes, our products are handcrafted except for where they use a machine. And my favorite, just yank it, no safety concerns. But look at this, so when you spend $400 on pulleys, you just get a cardboard box with no name, no nothing on it. And your pulleys are just wrapped in some plastic here. No certification of testing, no nothing. You just get a box with some plastic and your pulleys. And look how big these things are. So people use recovery rings for space savings and weight savings, but these things are ginormous. Alright, so we're here doing the test on Yankum's friction ring. Going from the Jeep, put the Scotch blocks down to keep it still, run down the winch cable. To our first load cell, this is going to measure our line input from the winch so we can regulate how much winching force we're adding to the system so we can measure our mechanical advantage. We have the second load cell at the end of the system. We're going to round this pulley, back around that pulley, and then back to this one through the center, and back to the center of this one. Exactly how Yankum says it's supposed to be ran. We got the doubled up shackles on that pulley, making a 4 to 1 system. So the purpose of the 2 different load cell is this is measuring our winch output, and that's going to measure our final output. We have guesstimated that the final output is going to be 2.95 to 1, not 4 to 1, because these rings are a friction ring and you're going to lose a lot of force around the rings by rubbing. The rope has to rub around the rings instead of anything turning. So we're going to winch with the recovery vehicle to approximately 4,500 pounds of winching force. The reason I chose that number is that's because this Jeep would only reach around 4,200 pounds of actual winching force before it lost traction on good ground. So it would be very difficult for anybody on a trail to winch higher than that from a recovery vehicle. So that's a good baseline number to see what kind of winching force you can get out of a 4-part system with Yankum ropes pulleys. Let me know when you're ready. So right here with a 4-part system, the winch is putting out 4,656 pounds, and the final output to the stuck vehicle is 12,348. I don't quite think that's 4 to 1. Alright, I haven't even seen the numbers yet. We're going to keep the exact, well, not the exact same setup. We're going to switch out all the Yankum ropes pulleys to standard pulley blocks and compare the numbers to see if these perform better or if those perform better. I see something very interesting that I disagree with right on the ring. I'll hold this one up to the camera and then I'll read off of this one. Hopefully you guys can see that. It says, when performing a recovery, start with a single line and work up to another configuration, a 2 to 1, then a 3 to 1. The risk of overloading tow connection points increase with each additional configuration. Never exceed a 5-to-1 with this ring. So as a recovery professional, hooking a single line up to a stuck vehicle that requires more than a single line is dangerous. So if I need 14,000 pounds to recover a vehicle and I tell you to hook up an 8,000 pound winch and max it out and see if it comes out first, the risk of a failure is very high because you're overloading your winch and your winch rope initially. So to tell you to start with the weakest option and then just keep moving up until you get it done is bad advice. You should learn how to do a mere resistance calculation and know the weight of the vehicle that you're pulling out and calculate what you need to get it unstuck and then rig for that. Not just start with the lowest option, break your winch rope and go, oh, now I got a broken winch rope, how am I going to do a 2-to-1? Because that happens all the time. So we're taking this system apart to swap these out to pulley blocks, and I want to point out the condition of this rope. And then look at the ring right here. Now we talked about this previously and we got hated for it. But where other people are testing this is 30 to 40 degrees cooler. I mean, it's 105 degrees today and the critical temperature of Dyneema is 115 degrees. So the friction that is building up around here will increase past 115 degrees and start damaging your rope, especially in hot, climates like Florida. All right, so we got all the pulleys swapped out to the regular snatch block here. So we're still going through the exact same setup. We still have the winching load cell. We're going down to a worn pulley block, back down to another worn pulley block. Then we're coming down to a Badland Apex block, and then we're deadheading down at the other end. So pretty much the same setup with standard equipment that most people would have in their rig. All right, ready?
Just under 4.
So right here, using the regular snatch blocks, the winch is outputting 4,686 pounds. And at the load, with 4 parts of line, you're getting 15,982. Final.
Yes.
All right, so we're doing the final test that we're going to perform today. So let's say you only had 2 snatch blocks and you only can run 3-to-1 instead of having 2 of Yankum's recovery rings for the 4-to-1. Would you still be beneficial running the extra part of line with Yankum's ring, or just running the regular snatch blocks and running a 3-to-1? So we're going from the Jeep down to our load cell for our winch pressure. Down to a worn snatch block, back to another worn snatch block, and then with the deadhead in here for a 3-to-1 line pull. So with regular pulley blocks with 3 parts of line, the load from the winch is 4,688. The final output at 3 parts of line is 12,427. Alright, so, Gator Boy here. I was blamed for damaging the last Yankum products off camera for the test. I want to show you that the only damage that are on these rings is from the winch rope. I did not damage these. They're not sanded. They're not scratched up. We do not get paid to make videos, so we don't damage stuff off camera. This is a legit test. Alright, so today we tested out the new XL recovery ring or winch ring by Yankum Ropes. One thing that, there's a few things I want to point out. They tell you that if you have 2 of these rings, you need no other equipment to do a 4-line system, so you can save money and space by not having extra equipment. Just use 2 of their ginormous rings instead of having a 3rd snatch block and a 3rd soft shackle. Well, in order to use these rings in a 4-line pull, your hook cannot go through the hole. So you have to cut the end of your winch line off, do a Brummel splice to have a loop in your line instead of a hook, which causes a whole bunch of other issues on top of that. And then most fair leads have nowhere to secure a loop, so then you have to use the Yankum fair lead to attach the loop on the fair lead, so you can use this pulley here. And then in order to use a 4-to-1, you need a soft shackle that's extra long, so you can double wrap it around here to make sure it's strong enough and not going to fail when doing a 4-line setup. Or do what we did today and just run 2 separate regular size soft shackles in there. So you need just about the same amount of equipment. You're still using 2 soft shackles for these. So you're just 1 ring short or 1 snatch block short. But the advantage of using a regular snatch block to a rub ring, I don't know, you guys be the judge. Is it worth running this ginormous recovery ring in a 4-way setup? Worth losing about 4,000 pounds of winching capability versus a standard recovery block? That's up to you guys. I'm just here to bring the information and show you what we have already talked about, and then let you guys be the judge. I don't like the idea of them telling you do not do a 2-to-1, do a single line pull, and if it don't work, go do a 2-line pull. If that don't work, and then a 3-line pull, because the #1 failure I see on the trail in our area is broken winches that no longer work or broken winch lines. It happens all the time, and that's because people are not using snatch blocks. They're single lining it, maxing the winch out, which is burning out the contactors, or they're breaking their winch cable. And the amount of people that have a splicing tool on the trail is almost 0. Or the people are using wire rope that have a way to fix their cable on the trail is almost 0. And the quickest way to break your winch line is 1, run it through a rub ring that's going to melt it in half, and 2 is overloading it by not knowing how much you need to get a vehicle unstuck. So again, they're providing improper information in my opinion, but if you like this product, you can use it. I won't use it. It'll sit here on my shelf.